Welcome everybody to the Alternative Sports Show powered by Verge Magazine. I'm Matthew Connell, joined as ever with Andre Dixon, the good man with the awesome background as ever, making me ever so jealous. And today it's a MotoGP special with a legend of the British superbike scene, someone that's done it in MotoGP and now BT Sport pundit himself, Michael Laverty. Good sir, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you very much. Revved up and ready to go for the season.
Absolutely. It's a lot, it's an exciting thing to think that, as considering the way the world environment is, it almost feels like we're in a kind of normal landscape where we can be excited that we have pretty much a full season. It's kind of crazy to think that our first race was July last season. So now everything has kind of reset somewhat for the sport world. But with MotoGP being back, Michael, tell us, what is it like to be a part of the punditry scene? Of course, it's great at BT across many sports, get a lot of experts from that relevant background being a part of the broadcasting setup. But for yourself, what has that been like in the relationship with BT Sport?
Yeah, it's been really good, actually. It was an interesting transition, not one I had really pre-planned. I just kind of fell into it, or lucked into it, if you like. I was coming towards the end of my career. I didn't quite realize it or know it or anticipate it, but once you see you're only a few years off your 40th birthday, that people are going to start to think you need to wind up your racing. But I probably would have kept going if this opportunity with BT hadn't have come along. Obviously, with all the weekend date clashes, it's impossible to do both, to continue in BSB. I still keep my hand in racing a bit of world endurance, but the dipping my toes into broadcasting in 2018 while still racing BSB with the Tyco BMW team allowed me the chance to experience what it was like to be behind the mic, to be in front of the camera, to be in the paddock and see that you still get the same buzz and the same kind of pressure when you've got the count, when you're going live, when you're on air. It's got many elements of the adrenaline rush you get from bike racing without the danger, if you like. And I'm still involved in the paddock, in the sport I love. So it's allowed me to get my teeth into the technical side, which I've always been into as well. And then I've kind of carved out a little bit of a technical role inside the BT Sport crew and working alongside all the team, from Susie, the ringmaster, keeping us all in check, and then alongside Hodgie, Gav, Keith over the years, who's decided to step away from it this year. But it's been a great experience when we've had Colin Edwards on site and being in the best paddock in the world, talking about the best riders in the world. It's got all the attributes that you want in an enjoyable weekend, but it's also now what I call my job, and I absolutely love it.
So Michael, obviously it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you. What's it like working with Susie Perry, who's like a total, pro and legend in the broadcasting world? What's that experience like?
Yeah, brilliant. Susie's been so good for my transition and my induction into broadcasting. I was a complete newbie, very green, and Susie, right from day one, has been an absolute professional and made my life easy. And actually, when you watch it at home on TV, it looks like Susie's doing the same job as me, but she's got 10 more things going on. People in her ear, she's trying to conduct everything, so she's got a lot going on, and she's always knows the right questions to ask to keep the conversation rolling. She's got a good rapport with all the people in the paddock; they all respect her. She knows the sport inside out, so she's first class as I called her a ringmaster, our boss. She keeps us all in check when we're running about the paddock, and she's trying to track us down, because some of us are in the commentary box, then we're running to meet Susie in the paddock to do a little bit of punditry between the sessions, and then run back and maybe be down in pit lane. So yeah, it's tough to keep us all in check and keep it all rolling smoothly throughout the weekend.
So I'm gonna draw some from some of your experiences to steal, so we can actually keep on improving, because we're in the start of our journey. You are very experienced, so we're looking up to you. But what's the biggest thing that you've actually learned from adjusting? What's it like, effectively, adjusting from a racer to a pundit now? What would you say your experiences are regarding that?
From how I approached my racing in terms of preparation, that was a big key takeover into the broadcasting world. So if you're well prepared ahead of the weekend, you have all the information in your head rather than to hand. So just to know it was the big thing. I found that I didn't require notes, because if I knew which I tend to do, I'm passionate about the sport. It was a hobby before it became my career. So I love it anyway. So I always do my research because I want to know. But I think that's what positioned me in quite well inside broadcasting. But yeah, I think the nerves is also a big part of sport. So the build up to the start of the race, when the lights go on, you obviously get the butterflies in your stomach, and everything starts to build to that pressure point throughout the weekend. And the same thing happens in the television world, as you get the count in your ear and you're going live in 5 seconds as that counts down and the camera goes to you. But probably the toughest thing for me was actually learning to speak directly to camera. So the pieces when I'm speaking with my co-stars with Susie, that's an easy conversation to have because I'm speaking to Susie. But when you got to do a piece direct to camera, that's a different ballgame. Just looking down the lens, I found that tough initially, and I still don't feel that natural doing it. But I have got more comfortable doing those pieces direct to camera. But that for me was a big kind of a big hurdle to overcome. And the team were quite good. They threw me in year one just to not quite sink or swim, but just get in there and experience it. And the more I did various things, the first time interviewing some of the team managers, that was a bit of a bit nervous, hands starting to shake a little bit, making sure I didn't ask a stupid question, but then you become more comfortable at that as well. So it is practice, and it's the same thing with everything in life. The more hours you put in practice, then the easier everything becomes. And I think that's for me, that now I'm into my 4th year with the BT Sport team. So I'm ready. I'm excited to get started this week, and I arrive feeling part of the team rather than being the newbie. So actually with Natalie Quirk joining us this year, I'm no longer the most or the least experienced member of the team. So Natalie's new to our squad, so I'm not the last in anymore. So that's actually quite a nice position.
And you can only imagine the percentage of the fear that you have to do a live broadcast. When we started doing this platform, we were breaking ourselves thinking, oh God, this is only like a Zoom thing. So you imagine the pressure of, from being someone that probably was interviewed by journalists, when you were doing it, day in, day out, and having to do that 180 must be like such a unusual twist. But nevertheless, like, how do you find now, having made these steps within this kind of broadcast journey, how do you balance being able to still get that racing or riding fix and manage maybe, personal commitments, whether it's with broadcasting or just balancing everyday life?
I have found that tougher because I take on quite a lot. So managing my time has been a little bit tougher because I didn't want to fully let go of riding the bike. So I signed a World Endurance contract as a reserve rider for the official Yamaha team. So trying to squeeze that in, obviously that's hard. And then trying to do all your admin, all your prep work. There's so many things going on that you don't see behind the scenes, obviously, that you have to arrive ready. But managing to keep that buzz going, to ride bikes, one of the things I did let slide obviously was when I trained and ate like a professional. So as I was preparing for race weekends, that was when I woke up in the morning, preparing what you're going to eat and how you're going to train was a big part of your day. But then all of a sudden that went to the back of the queue, so you forgot about that. You could relax a little bit more and enjoy the sociable beer with the rest of the crew over the weekend. So those things that are enjoyable then start to let your fitness slip a little bit. So whenever I jump back on the bike, I'm not quite as sharp as I used to be, so I'm not enjoying that side of it. But the last few weeks the last couple of months really, and at the end of lockdown, I'm preparing for the Le Mans 24 in April, and it's been nice getting back into training again. But then it's been hard because that's an extra couple of hours in the day that I have to schedule in with everything else. So yeah, again, managing the time and learning how to control that and switch off when it becomes 6-7 in the afternoon, and actually take an evening off and watching Netflix or read a book or do something that allows you to disengage from the sport, because I can let myself become all consumed by it, because it is my hobby, it is my passion, and it is my job. I'll sometimes just let it roll all day long and into the night.
I guess it's a nice balance as well. You probably have those little evil demons of like the production crew, like, come on, it's a great broadcast, come on, let's get some beers in. You're like, just stay away. Look, still a pro up in here. And of course, it's one of those things, going back to pressure. It must be, a hard thing as well, like having to make sure you get that research in, because it must be a bit of I still feel it when I interview anyone from any sporting background. You get imposter syndrome because you think we shouldn't be here, but we are here. It's a very weird kind of emotion and feeling. But let's get into the nitty gritty of the season. Of course, BT Sport is the home of MotoGP and of course the Qatar Grand Prix. double weekend happening 28th and April 4th. Of course, first race of the season, the big star of MotoGP, Marc Marquez, had his arm injury, broke his arm first race, and has really struggled to kind of get into a clean bill of health. Everyone was full of anticipation of him coming back, and as of this week, had another kind of medical episode that hadn't been seen to, and now it's kind of thrown. Well, he's as it stands, misses the first 2 Qatar races. Now, it was a very interesting season last year, but how do the other teams in and around that paddock see this? Is it a loss? Is it a gain for MotoGP? Does it make it more competitive?
I think your last point there, it definitely makes it more competitive, because we know Mark on his A game is almost unbeatable. So now he's given the rest of the guys almost a 2 race head start, because we know if Mark comes back and gets into a stride, he will be one of the championship favourites. But an interesting comment from Valentino Rossi this week was that the rest of the guys have grown while Mark's been out. They're no longer afraid of him. So I guess Joan Mir, champion last year, he'll have taken a little bit of confidence from that. He now perhaps looks at Mark coming back and thinking he's going to be riding a little bit injured. He's going to be a little bit more careful than he was in the past. He can't ride with that gung-ho, just throw everything at it, because he can't afford to take those crashes at the moment. The bone's healing, but it's still, the fact that his team have kept him out of these first 2 races says that there's still a little bit of a concern with the healing process. So yeah, he's fragile ever so slightly for the first time in his career, and the rest of the guys won't give him an inch. They'll pounce on him when he comes back. I know he's got that unique riding style where he does push the absolute limits. I look forward to seeing that in action again, to seeing him back on track. But also, I think Maverick Vinales, Fabio Quartararo, Joan Mir, Alex Rins, Jack Miller, they're all starting to believe a little bit more in themselves. They've got that little bit more experience, a little bit more time with their teams and bikes, and they've grown while Mark's been on the sidelines and he's not been riding bikes. He, even last winter, he was recovering from shoulder surgery, and then he barely rode in pre-season testing. He came in at the start of it, there was another lockdown that allowed him to properly recover from his shoulder injury. Then he gets injured the first sprint at Jerez. So it's been a long time for Mark where he's not been going through his normal routine of riding motocross, riding flat track, riding supermoto. So it's a long layoff period. I don't doubt his ability to get immediately back to that top level, but it's doing that whilst you've got that worry of injury in the back of your mind. It's going to be, I'm quite intrigued how it pans out. It's going to be an interesting season. I think it's going to be another barnstormer like it was last year, with everyone feeling that they've got a shot at it yet again, and over a longer period this time. So kicking off now in March, and hopefully we run all the way through to October. It's going to be different than that condensed season we had from July to October last year. It was different when they're going back to back at the same track, where they're going event to event. So I think some of the guys will be thinking of the long game. I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out strong in Qatar this weekend.
We've seen it across so many sports as well, that no ultimate athlete or pro is safe. We've seen it with Tiger Woods in the golf scene, Andy Murray in tennis, and Marc Marquez, of course, is going through this kind of tricky chapter in his career. And of course, with Joan Mir winning last season, it kind of threw up a lot of hope and actually caught a lot of attention, within the world of MotoGP and surrounding it. So last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was was it 8 or 9 different race winners last season, which is incredible for any kind of motorsport to have. It just shows that there's some transition going on here. We've obviously got a transitional year here, big names changing teams, new riders coming up. And with having so many race winners last year, which teams currently in this championship stand the best opportunity to make a massive statement?
That's the million dollar
question.
Who's going to come out strong? I think of those 9 different winners last year, Jack Miller wasn't one of them. And I think Jack moving into the factory team, having that full support from Ducati, the fact that he was fastest in preseason testing, I think Jack's positioned to catapult himself to the top of that rankings after the first 2 races in Qatar. It's whether Ducati can maintain that form when they come back to Europe. But I would be looking at Fabio Quartararo moving into the factory team. Now he'll want to be. He had such a strong rookie season, a tough sophomore year. It just didn't go the way he thought it would last season. He got his first wins on the board, but then consistency wasn't there. But he'll be looking to cement himself as Yamaha's future. Then Maverick Vinales alongside him. He's being the nearly man, the one with so much promise,
Yeah.
he's now going to be wanting to put that right. So I could go on. I haven't even mentioned Joan Mir, last year's world champion, and he's going to be wanting to prove that wasn't a fluke.
Exactly.
Alex Rins is more experienced teammate. Was started the season injured, and he's probably thinking, you know what, I could have been champion without an injury last year. So he's going to be wanting to put that right. Then you don't even think about the likes of 41-year-old Valentino Rossi. No, 42 he is now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable the level.
It's going strong.
Still going strong. Moving into the Petronas squad. Seems very happy. He's so positive in testing. I'm excited to see a rejuvenated Valentino in Petronas colours this year. Frankie Morbidelli alongside him in there. I think he had such a strong season last year, and he's going to be even stronger this season. I think he matures as he experiences more, so he's going to continue to grow.
So we've been lucky enough to get close and chat with a friend of the show now, Brad Binder. Luckily we got to speak to him a couple of times now, and we're firm fans of his now. But like, who else can fans who are new to MotoGP follow that can be considered ones to look out for?
Well, I think you mentioned Brad Binder there. He's a fantastic prospect with KTM as a manufacturer. They're growing, they're improving all the time. Last year they were at the very forefront, and Brad taking that win in Brno in his rookie season. I think as they improve that package and as Brad gets more experience, he's going to be a regular podium finisher. Maybe not this year with the competition is so tough at the head of the field, but he's such a great racer. He's such a exciting rider to watch. He's always fighting all the way to the end. Probably if I was looking across the board, I would say Paul Espargaro moving into the Repsol Honda team for me is quite exciting this year. He was obviously alongside Brad Binder at KTM last year. He's moved into what is sometimes a poison chalice, being teammates with Marc Marquez. So you've got the toughest guy in the world to beat as your teammate, and that's your reference. But Paul's, he's displayed speed already on the Honda. He looks like he's adapted quite quickly. So I'm interested to see how he goes. But all the way through the class, you could look at I was really impressed with the rookies who jumped immediately from Moto2 to MotoGP and were fast. That was Jorge Martin on the Pramac Ducati, Luca Marini on the what is going to be the Sky VR46 Ducati, and Enea Bastianini also on the Ducati alongside Luca Marini. So there's a lot of exciting rookies. Alex Marquez in his second season with the LCR squad. Unfortunately, we don't have a British rider this year with no Cal Crutchlow, no Bradley Smith, which is sad, but there are so many riders to get behind. We'll take, I've said it before, I think Jack Miller's almost an honorary Brit. He's such a, we've got such a good relationship with Jack, and he's always good fun. So we'll get behind him this year.
Well, this is the thing, right? On BT Sport, I think this is the perfect opportunity for fans that haven't got their teeth properly sunk into it yet. If you're chilling at home on the weekend, or, you're working from home, you know how it works. You can flick on the TV, watch a bit of the MotoGP. And of course, Michael, as we bring it to an end, thank you so much for stopping by, educating us, getting us hyped for this season. It's so much to be excited about. Kicking off this Friday at 10:45 in BT Sport 2. And Michael, as we ride off into the sunset, where can we keep a track of you as you go forth into this season of MotoGP?
Well, I'll be obviously on BT Sport throughout, and you can keep a track on what we're doing on my Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, all at Michael Laverty. So, looking forward to the season to get started this weekend. It's going to be exciting, and thanks for the time, guys. I've enjoyed the chat.
Thank you very much, Michael. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Head over to BT Sport to keep track of everything MotoGP wise. We shall see you soon.